This is episode 209 of the Inner Fight podcast with Loy Machedo. And this is it. We're back again. Thanks a lot to everyone for tuning in. Another episode of the podcast and another special guest. I do thank you all for listening to these additional podcasts that we're putting out in addition to the Coaches podcast. And this week I'm joined by an incredibly interesting guy by the name of Loy Machedo, who I actually met. It was so random, wasn't it? First of all, Loy, welcome to the show and thanks for joining us, mate.
Hey, it's great to be here.
We met in the printing shop where I print the Inner Fight t-shirts. Out of all of the places in the universe, we meet in there.
Yeah. And when I saw you, your Inner Fight shirt just stood out. I was like, you're from InnerFit. And I was like, ooh la la.
This is what's going on. Mate, listen, this show's about you. Give us a little bit of background on yourself, where you come from, what you do, and a little bit of information on what's going on.
Okay. Born and raised in Dubai. Right. Being here when Dubai was nothing but just a desert. However, my life is married to failure. I was born and brought up in an abusive family.
Right.
My father abandoned me when I was a baby.
Right.
My mother reminded me as a mistake every day of my life. My stepfather, I think he wanted to be a boxer, so he practiced boxing with me. I was the punching bag.
Wow.
Then in school, I think, I failed literally in every subject.
Right.
Those days, you might find this surprising, but those days there was nothing like anything to protect children. So they used to make me stand outside in the sun every day in every class.
Wow.
Even as young as 9 years, 10 years.
This was in school here in Dubai?
Sargent Indian School.
Wow.
And most of the teachers deny that it ever happened.
Right. As you could understand that they would.
Yeah. And they hate me. That's why I put even videos about it.
Right.
I failed in every subject. In fact, this was a pretty nice one. One of the teachers actually told my father that I ought to be put in a mental asylum.
Right.
Yeah. And then, so I was outstanding in the class, standing out always. Moved to college, dropped out of college because I realized whatever they're teaching in college is the same thing, the same crap that they're teaching in school.
Right.
So I lost interest in college. I dropped out. So I didn't have a school degree, a certificate, neither college. Then when I came here, that is, I went to India, I dropped out. Here, I was, even though UAE was booming, I was unemployed for 2 years.
Right.
I didn't get a single job.
Right.
And my first job was that of a shopkeeper.
Okay.
So much for a great future.
Yeah.
And, when you're 21, you want to be Bill Gates. You want to earn billions of dollars, not become a shopkeeper.
Yeah.
So I failed in the corporate world, changed 34 jobs in 6 years.
Wow.
Okay. Every company fired me because I never fit into the culture. Why
was that, mate? What was the...
I never knew that I had ADHD.
Right.
I never knew that. And it was never diagnosed. There were no psychologists here.
Right.
And I was totally against the grain. Like, here people like to get up early in the morning like slaves, drive down in traffic like zombies, reach office, have a cup of coffee, and sit down there. And everyone likes to call each other sir.
Yeah.
They think their boss is superior to them.
Right.
And they come back home every day at around 6 or 7 or 8 or 9.
Just go through the motions.
Yeah, and I ask myself, is this the life I want to live?
Right.
Is this how I want to live? Just ordinary, being just like everyone else.
Right.
So whenever I question, the people say, are you for real? How can you question the system?
Right.
You follow the system without asking questions. I was like, no way, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And when you get a boss, just because he has a title, that doesn't mean he's better than you.
Correct.
It's just that maybe he's lucky.
Yeah.
So people hated me asking questions. And I always believe if someone asks repeated questions, he has a great mind.
Yeah. So when did you start? You left school early, or you left school at 18?
No, I completed school, but I failed in all the subjects.
Right. So, and did you go to university afterwards, or you went straight to start work?
I went to the university, but I dropped out.
Okay, so you're there. You're 19 years old, or something like that, and you start this journey of 30 plus jobs in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
What's going on? Because I think that's a big number of jobs, but what you've just described as the stereotype is going on with a lot of people. They get up in the morning, they reach the office, they have their coffee, they get home at night, and that's it. So why were you against it, or how did you figure it out early that that's not what you wanted?
See, right from a small age, right from the time I was a small boy, I questioned everything, even religion, for which people could not stand. Like, for example, they say, you pray to God, you'll get what you want.
Right.
So when I pray and not get, I was like, why, if there is a God, why isn't he answering my prayer? Right. Then I'd ask them, which God is real? He says, this God is real. And they're like, don't you dare question the system.
Right.
Then my father used to tell me the truth always. So just imagine, when I failed, I told him the truth, and I got beaten up for it. I was like, you just told me to tell you the truth. He's like, yeah, but not like this.
Wow.
So I always found double standards with people. They would say, take the blessings of parents. I said, if I don't take your blessings, what would happen? So I'd always question. Yeah. And that is what they didn't like.
Right.
And see, the worst part is, if you do not remember this, all the problems that are there with today's youth is because of the upbringing and the surroundings that they are.
Right.
So if their parents are not there for them, and most of the people here in Dubai, they just think parenting is just sending them to school and taking care of their needs, and that's it. You need to spend time with them.
Right. So you've gone through all these jobs, and you realize that working in the corporate world or working in an office isn't for you. How old were you? Like 24, 25?
This went on until the age of 30.
Until the age of 30.
I kept switching jobs one after. I had a string of relationships, I think over 400 women.
Right.
So, and 2 failed marriages.
Failed marriages.
So everything is failure.
Right.
And the last job, I worked for a guy who was into a fraudulent business. Imagine, I complained to the authorities, and they said, why don't you just mind your own business? I'm like, huh?
Really?
And then when the employer found out, he put a criminal case on me, got me deported from this country, for which I was born here.
Right.
Just imagine, I've been here for like close to 30 plus years.
Right.
And now he has sent me back to India. It's so ironical. You are born, brought up here, and you have a passport for a country you never visited.
Right.
And then you begin to wonder, like, I don't belong to this country.
For sure.
And then when I went to India, I don't know anyone. I was robbed at knife point. Right. He sent me without any money.
Wow.
And when I called the only people who I knew, my mother and my stepfather, they said, we don't know you.
Wow.
And it was that, when you don't have money, when you're at your deepest, darkest time, your friends, everyone leaves you.
For sure.
And it was at that point I decided to kill myself.
Right.
And then it was then that everything changed.
Right.
And from what I was normal to what you see me now, like Spider-Man, it was at that point everything changed.
So you're back in India, you had absolutely nothing. It was a country that you didn't really know, although you were technically from there.
Yeah.
And how did you what did you do? What was the steps?
I didn't have any.
Parents don't want you. No one wants you. How did you start to build yourself back up?
This is where social media saved me.
Right.
I don't know how this guy. There was a guy in the airport. He apparently, his name is Hitesh Soni. He recognized me as the controversial guy on Facebook, and he just put his, hey, how are you doing and all that. And I was like, I just told him my story. He gave me, a nobody gave me 300 dirhams,
right,
and said, this is all I can give you. And said, what do I do? Where do I go?
Yeah.
He said, don't stay in Bombay. You'll be dead before you know it. And he recommended me to go to the southern part of India, which he said was cheap.
Right.
So I had actually decided to go in the train and kill myself because 3 days, no food, no water, nothing.
Wow.
And he just gave me the money. So when I sat in the train, this is where things started to change.
Right.
So the train is moving. In the night, I decided to jump out. So as I was about to do that, rain was hitting my face. I was like, this is nice. Let me just enjoy this moment.
Right.
So I was enjoying that. After that, I got hungry. And when you're hungry, you don't feel like killing yourself.
Right.
So I ate a nice meal, whatever meal I could afford.
Yeah.
And after I did that, I was like, now I'm enjoying the food. So when you're enjoying something, you don't feel like killing yourself.
Right.
So from there on, every small thing that I was doing, I kept feeling a little happier.
Right.
Until the journey got over after, I think, 4 days.
Yeah.
Then came back to depression. So
is it those small things in life that you think people, I mean, this sounds like a really dark time. You're just about to jump off a moving train and end everything. Is it those small things in life that people don't appreciate that are super important? And do you think like people should be taking more, sort of realizing more how important the small things in life that make them what they are?
Yeah, it is when you do nothing.
Yeah.
When you think you're a victim.
Yes.
That is when you decide to harm yourself, kill yourself, or do nothing about it.
Yeah.
That's where depression sets in. But when you set in motion, when you start taking on small challenges, when you start appreciating the small things in life that money can't buy, I think that's where we are happiest. Because I feel our problem in society today is we are trying to compare ourselves to someone else.
Yes.
We're trying to compete with someone else.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're not realistic.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you went from the train ride, you've had the rain on your face, you like that, you've had some food, you're feeling a little bit more upbeat about life. Where do you go to next?
When I got down at the railway station and there was nobody there, so I decided, okay, this is it. And when I stood there, I was waiting there, I was crying, feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
And, this is where it really struck me. When I was crying, I was actually crying.
Right.
And then I look left and right, and nobody is there. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
That's what I tell people. If you cry and you moan and you groan and you say, I'm pregnant, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
If you have no money, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I better stop this shit. So I just...
It's not making you any better, right?
Yeah, it's not a... And then I was like, okay, action. I'll take the action by jumping. And then I realized that was the last train.
Right.
The train I got down was the last train. I was like, man, couldn't get any worse. Yeah, you just ruined my perfect day.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, I'll at least check into a hotel and get up, and then I'll, my goal was kill myself.
Right.
That was, mission kill myself.
About.
Yeah.
Right.
When I sat in the a small little cheap apartment, there was just a fan, and every time I kept looking at the fan, thinking, okay, I'll hang myself. So when I went down to get a rope, that's where I saw a street vendor selling some delicious stuff that was cooking outside. I was like, oh, might as well eat something. So when I took that and as I was walking and eating, searching for a rope where to buy, I actually saw a bookshop. Right. And that brought back memories because me as a child, I loved reading books, but my parents never allowed me to read books.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, might as well go to the store. When I went to the store, found a nice book, started to read.
Yeah.
And, this is where after 3-4 days, I just realized, why am I thinking of killing myself every single day? Because every day I try to do that, something or another kept interrupting.
Right.
And then I asked myself, so I have a choice to be happy.
Yeah.
Why don't I do things that make me happy?
Got it.
So from there on, I started focusing. But here, you need to keep one thing in mind. If I were to repeat the same recipe for which I got myself in trouble, I would get myself in trouble again. So I decided I need to change the recipe.
Right.
So I had to change from within, everything, from my way of thinking to the way I did things, to the friends.
But that's a decision that you make.
Yeah.
It's not something that's forced upon you. It's not controlled by, it's like you said on the railway platform, you're crying. You choose to stop. So what you're saying here is that everything was now within your control.
Yeah. I chose to take charge. I was just fed up and tired.
Right.
Like they say, you get sick and tired of getting sick and tired.
Yeah.
So I had enough.
Right.
So I decided no longer was I going to follow rules of society. I didn't have to be a good guy. I didn't have to be a role model. I didn't have to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
The first thing I needed to do is sort the shit out in my life.
Right.
And I needed to be happy. And it's somewhere I realized it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to focus on me.
Right.
Because looking at me, if I can sort myself out, there are a lot of people who look at me and, they might get inspired.
Yeah.
Instead of me focusing on how can I inspire him, how can I inspire myself?
So what did you do?
I just started being selfish, self-centered, self-loving.
Right.
I started taking care of myself. I no longer believed in the religious bullshit. Forgive and forget all those guys who harm me. No, there are some people meant to be assholes. They will forever be assholes. You better keep away from them.
Right.
So for me, I just rewrote all the rules in my life.
Yeah. And how did what was the journey? So you're in India, you decided that suicide was not the option.
Yeah.
You're going to take control of your life. Where did you go from there? Because it's very easy to say it now, but I think people might be in some states of depression or just not happy, as opposed to like you focus on yourself and you start to do that. But when you've got nothing, how did you get out of that hole? Because essentially you're in a hole, and with the best intentions in the world or the most positive thinking doesn't get you out of the hole. So what did you put in place to get up?
I first followed the policy of Eddie Guerrero.
Right.
He said, I cheat, I lie, I steal.
Right.
Okay. When you are close to death,
yes,
and you have nothing to, you grab onto anything and everything.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to do anything it takes to get out of this, whatever it takes. Because I'll tell you this, when even if you're a good guy or even if you're a bad guy, nobody cares.
Right.
Seriously, nobody cares.
Right.
Okay. Let's say, for example, Marcus, you help 1,000 students.
Yes.
And one fine day, someone puts a blame and says, he sexually molested me. They will remember only one. Remember Bill Clinton?
Yes.
He did so much of good.
Yes.
People remember him only for one thing.
Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I was like, I'm sick and tired of being this nice guy. I'm going to be me.
Right.
That is what I tell even my students. I tell, embrace the darkness.
Right.
be you. Be the real, authentic you.
Right.
Stop being someone else.
Right.
So I decided, okay, I was not popular. I was a weirdo. I never fit into anywhere.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to be. And in answer to your question, what do you do when you're down there?
Yeah.
You first search for loopholes and take advantage of them. That is the secret for every successful guy.
Right.
Steve Jobs, he did that with Microsoft. He did it with IBM. He did it with everyone. You find loopholes in the system and you take advantage of them.
So at that point, did you decide what you wanted your career to be, or what job would get you back on track and make you happy? And I mean, was your objective to come back to Dubai? How did that all work out?
Second secret, which I tell people, even if you're searching for a job or you want to get fit or you want to change your life, first find out who are your true friends.
Right.
It'll make life a lot more easier.
Right.
And make sure that they can help you. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I took my the phone book.
Yeah.
I just made it A and B. A definitely help me. B, not sure, or they'll not help me.
Yeah.
So all the people in A, I let them know how much I love them and how important they are to my life. And I asked them, you must ask.
Right.
And I asked them specifically what I wanted.
Right.
And that's how I managed to get my ban lifted, and I came back to Dubai. Because I knew, it depends on which environment you're in.
Yeah.
If you had to play the game of cricket in a football field, you'll fail.
Yeah.
So I came back to Dubai. I knew Dubai was the only place I could survive.
What year was that when you came back?
This was, I think, 5 years ago.
So
I'm 39, say 34, at the age of 34. I'm 5 years ago, yeah.
5 years, so in 2011.
Yeah.
And what did you start working as in 2011?
I took up anything that helped me stand up. I mean, I was working even as a driver.
Right.
Just to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And from there, I think you'd not believe this. I need to tell you this, okay?
For sure.
I was actually walking down in Sharjah, having not eaten for 2 days.
Right.
Okay. And I stopped near this. This is the name of the cafeteria is Ultima Cafeteria near Sharjah, near the bridge, flyover. Anyone can find that out. Near Petrofac. It's Ultima Cafeteria. I was walking there for the whole day, not eaten.
Right.
And there I see a shawarma. And, the smell of shawarma, I was hungry, man. Right. I had not eaten for the whole day. And when I looked at it, I just dug my pocket. I had 2 dirhams and 25 fils.
Right.
The cost for a sandwich is 2 dirham, 50 fils.
Right.
So I went to that guy. I said, how much is it? So he said 2 dirham, 50 fils. I knew he didn't have the money. So then I said, how much for French fries? He said, $5. I said, can you give me for 1 dirham French fries? The guy said, are you okay? Because he saw me, and then there was an old man. You know, they have these small little openings where they look through. Fruits all over.
Yeah.
So the old man looked there and he asked him in his native language, what? So he told him. Then he said, tell him to sit down. So I thought he agreed to give me a 1 dirham French fry.
Yeah. I
sat down there, and no sooner did I sit down, after a few minutes, he brings me a full plate of French fries, rice, and 2 shawarma sandwiches. I immediately stood up. I said, I don't have the money. Yeah. He said, sit down. He said, you're like his son. Just sit down and eat.
Wow.
I'll tell you, that was the most delicious food I ever eaten, and as I ate, I sobbed and I cried.
Yeah.
And then I took a sheet of paper, I took a pen,
right,
and it just inspired me to write down what is it that I exactly want out of life.
Right.
And the first thing I wrote is I need to ask somebody a loan of 200,000 dirhams to start my career as a coach. I don't know, I just got inspired. And I said to myself, I'm actually going to go to every rich guy I know or I can meet and ask him, can you give me 200,000 dirhams? I'll never pay you back, but I want to study. I'm telling you, I got inspired to do this, and I said, I'm going to ask someone for a house to stay, even though I'll not pay him rent.
Right.
And after I did that, the first guy that came down the building, I said, I'm going to start now. I spoke to him and he said, hey, by the way, I know you, Loy. I said, how? I saw you on YouTube. I asked him my request. I need a house to stay. I need a place. He said, hey, that's great because my apartment is here, but I stay in a lane. It's empty. You can. I was like, what? It actually happened. His name is George. Wow. He's a Toastmaster. He made me stay there.
Right.
Then the second on my list was to get the money.
Right.
I started going from door to door, shop to shop. People actually thought I was nuts.
Really?
Until one guy, his name is Suresh Cherry, and he said, I know one man who might be crazy enough to listen to your story. He introduced me. He's the CEO of Global Engineering.
Right.
Okay. I met up with him, and I told him my story. I cried. I literally cried because I told him, I know you might throw me out, but this is what I want. Within, he said, sit down. Next thing I knew, he wrote me a check of 15,000 dirhams.
Wow.
He got me a Nissan Tida from the company. And he told me he'll pay me in installments up to 200,000. That's how I started my journey.
Wow.
The power of asking, the power of thinking something crazy, doing something crazy. And nobody believes the story.
And then you started to study, you started to learn about coaching.
I thought myself, I've spent more than 2 million dirhams in books.
Wow.
I'm a school dropout, and I train people with PhDs today.
Wow. Let's talk about something a bit more controversial. I think probably about 80 to 9% of your body is tattooed.
Exactly.
You're probably one of the most tattooed persons I've ever seen. You're definitely one of the only people I've ever seen with so many face tattoos.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, where it came from, and also how it fits into society.
I tell everyone, think you're going to die within 7 days.
Right.
How would you like to live your life? So, that day when I wrote down my list, I said, if I was going to die, what would I do?
Right.
So I wrote down all the things I wanted, including the things I needed to survive, in case I wouldn't die. Obviously, I needed something, right?
Yeah.
So in that I needed one tattoo. And apart from that, I needed to get laid and all the other stuff.
Of course.
But, yeah. So the tattoo was also part of it.
Right.
And somehow I got my first tattoo done with just $100. I said,
what was it?
It was just a small line at the back, a tribal.
Right. Okay.
And I couldn't see it, so I don't know if he did a good job. Then the second one, it felt good.
Yeah.
Then after some time, I got one here. Then people started staring at me. I was like, oh, this feels macho.
Right.
Until I saw someone with a bigger tattoo. I was like, okay, I need to show you. So I got 2 done. I met someone with 3, then I did 4 done. Then I got my whole sleeve done. Until it came down till here.
Yeah.
After this, I always had this vision of doing what Mike Tyson had done.
Right.
But trust me, I never had the guts because I didn't know, and nobody knew what would happen if you get a face tattoo.
Yeah.
And it was really scary. And even today, I tell people, do not do what I did.
Right.
Because I'm just lucky.
Right.
Because the day you get a tattoo that is visible, many careers, many countries, you're banned.
Right.
They do not entertain you. So, but I decided I was ready to pay the price, even get expelled from this country, no problem. I'll do it.
Right.
Because I wanted to live life on my terms. I'm just tired of living life on other people's terms.
Yeah.
What's the use? Even my second marriage, why I got divorced is because I said, I'm not happy in this relationship, even though it's just 1 or 2 months.
Got it. Yeah.
Why do I need to carry it, lifelong? Some people say, no, we needed to do it for children and society. I said, no way.
No way.
So when I got the first tattoo done,
first face tattoo.
Yeah.
By this time, how much of your body was tattooed?
Almost everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Over how long a period?
Except the Superman area. I don't need it there. So
over how long a period did you get your body tattooed?
It took 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
And then you go out and you get your face tattooed.
Yeah, I just got this small little thing, the Tyson one.
Right.
But the one on the top of the head got inspired when I wanted to get into TED Talks.
Right.
TED Talks, they were auditioning people, so I had to stand out.
Right.
So I went to the guy and said, tattoo my head off. And he's like, are you crazy?
Really?
I said, if I have to stand out from the rest of them... See, in competition, if you want to stand out, you got to go beyond everyone else.
Right.
So I did that, and I stood out.
How was it received as you're, obviously, like you say, once you get tattooed that people can see visually, it changes a lot of things. It changes maybe what jobs you have. Now, at that time, like obviously your arms are done, your fingers are done, but now your whole face is done. You really can't cover it up. How does that change life for you?
It's if you're not used to attention in the negative sense, don't do it.
Right.
I get cursed by every person I see.
Really?
I get people who move aside. I get people who even tell that, oh my goodness, as if I was going to harm them.
Really?
I get judged a lot. I get people who use religious words against me.
Right.
I've even had people who refuse to sit next to me or in the elevator, they just walk out.
Really?
Yeah. You would not believe this. I have been a brand ambassador for many brands.
Yeah.
We have had incidents where they've called up the police.
Yeah.
They have taken me, but that was the last, whereby they took me in questioning for 12 hours.
Right.
Questioning whether I was into black magic, whether I do drugs, whether I have harmed anyone.
Really?
They watch too many Hollywood movies.
I mean, it's a big move, definitely, mate, in a culture of the region with Islam and their thoughts on tattooing and stuff. Did that ever go through your mind when you were
I never thought about that.
You never thought about it. So you're surprised that you get yourself into these situations?
See, people get surprised when I tell them I've never touched alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't smoke.
Right.
And I don't like to fight at all.
Right.
I never had a single fight. So people get shocked when I tell them, "There's no way, man. You should be a drug addict. You should be at least drinking alcohol."
That stereotype, sir.
It's stupid. That's why I came in that Coke ad,
Yeah.
where they had people sitting in the dark room.
Right.
And the guy who was sitting next to me was a famous Arabic speaker.
Okay.
He kept touching me and he was joking with me. But when the lights came on, he was like, "Oh my goodness, he
didn't want to
please,
touch you
no,
anymore.
please, don't come near me."
Really?
So in the dark, when he was talking to me, he liked me a lot.
Yeah.
Once the lights came on, he was like, I need to take a photo, but don't touch me. Just take a photo. I'll show my family because I want to show them how the devil looks like.
Do you think that's how society is today? Do you think people are very judgmental on the way that we look?
Very stereotyped.
And very stereotyped, and actually deeper below, there's something a lot different?
Yeah. It'll be impossible for the world to be without prejudice or without hate.
But if you knew that, why did you do this to yourself, and how did you think it was going to affect your life and success in life?
I just decided to focus on what I want,
right,
and what makes me happy. Because if I start dancing around to what makes others happy, I don't think I'll ever be happy.
That's an awesome way to put it. Let's cut the chase. What is your current job? Okay. We've enjoyed this experience. What do you do for work, for a living, and essentially to pay your bills?
I work only 5 days in a month.
Right.
That was my goal. I didn't want to run the rat race. I didn't want to work like everyone else. I believe life is meant to enjoy.
Right.
So I charge people, just like you, I charge people per hour for my expertise.
Right.
And I knew that I was a school dropout. I didn't have any qualifications. So since the past 6 years, first year I read around 326 books.
Right.
I keep reading books rapidly.
Right.
And today I specialize in personal brand management.
Right.
So I help people market their own brands.
Personal brands and company brands?
No, not company brands.
Just personal.
See, what I believe is you represent a brand.
Right.
If you can shine, whatever you represent shines.
Right.
So, like, for example, Marcus is a brand. Like, when I saw you, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So I get an impression. So whatever you tell me, whatever you suggest, I believe you.
Right.
Because you represent a brand.
Do you think there's not enough people, because people would be thinking, people would be listening to this and thinking, I work in a company, I work for a brand, why do I need to be a brand?
You must.
How does this all tie in?
See, it all depends. If you're happy being an employee, getting paid peanuts, be the monkey that you are.
Right.
But if you want to shine, like for example, if Marcus, like for example if you were to stand out, if you stand in a crowd, you would stand out. If I were to stand in a branch crowd, I stand out.
Right.
So you need to figure out how do you stand out, because then you get selected for the promotion. You get selected to represent your company. You get selected. You stand out from everyone else. The problem what people are doing is they're saying, no, I need to be the company. Company is the brand. Then why does everyone go and buy a different top, a different trouser, a different shoes? They're trying to be a brand, but the problem is they do not know how to market themselves, how to position themselves.
Right. So where should people start? I mean, mate, what's your, without giving away all the trade secrets, where should people start with this? How should people be marketing themselves, and how does all this thing of personal branding tie into the general population?
See, first and foremost is there are no secrets. It's all
That's
out
good,
there.
We can share it all then.
Seriously, because today with the dawn of the internet and social media, everything is open.
Right.
Like for example, everyone knows workouts.
Right.
It's just applying them.
Right.
But where we need you as a coach is because you know how to put it across.
Correct.
So in the same way, for me, it's very simple. And I tell people, if you want to find, first be true to yourself.
Right.
Stop being a nice guy. Stop trying to fake that you have to be nice, polite, try to fit in. Ask yourself, what makes you happy?
Right.
I even tell people, you have a fantasy sleeping around with 6 women, 10 women, or being unfaithful to your partner. Go ahead. That is you. That is your personality. Stop being a nice guy.
Right.
So people get shocked. No, what about God? We'll worry about God later. First, we focus on you.
Yeah.
It's like you trying to fool yourself to please everyone.
Yeah.
So when I tell people, embrace your dark side, it's more like Star Wars, like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
They get shocked. And that's where we start.
You're one of the only people that does this personal brand strategy within the region. You're one of the only, you're probably one of the only in the world, and definitely the only in the region person with so many tattoos that does this kind of thing. What's the reaction and what's the buy-in from people when you start to speak to them about personal branding? Because you've branded yourself in, as we've just spoken about, in an incredible way. So being one of a few in the region that's teaching this stuff, what's the reaction from people?
People get normally shocked. For instance, when I talk to people, when people see me, they
Yeah.
always have a very low expectation.
Well, this is what you're saying. The stereotype is
Yeah.
you should be a drug dealer, an alcoholic, or a
exactly.
bully. So, and now you're going to come and tell me how to build my brand.
Exactly. So that's you know why it's good?
Yeah.
Because they have such a low expectation. They think I'm this dumb idiot who has not read a book. So when I start talking to them about the latest Harvard publications,
Yeah.
the latest article in Stanford,
Yeah.
they get a shock of their life. They're like, you actually read Harvard Business Reviews?
Right.
Then I give them the authors. I speak on cognitive psychology, neuroscience. I speak to
Yeah.
all these subjects.
Yeah.
They get baffled.
Right.
And then I tell them, stop judging.
Yeah.
Okay, just because you wore a suit and tie and you look decent,
Yeah.
okay, it doesn't mean you know everything.
Yeah.
And then I just, it's very simple. Over the years, I've just told people simply this. You just Google my name.
Yeah.
First, Google your name, see
Right.
what comes. Then Google my name,
Right.
and then you'll find out who's effective.
Right.
So then people are like, shit, okay, what he's saying is true.
Better listen to this
Yeah.
guy. Yeah. You said that some of the people that you deal with are PhDs.
Yeah.
Give us a bit more background on the kind of people. Is it all senior management, or what kind of people are you dealing with to help them build their brand strategy and brand profile?
Those who are hungry.
Right.
If you're hungry, then whatever is told to you, you will absorb it.
Right.
But if your mind is full, like Bruce Lee said, if your mind is full,
Yeah.
nothing will fill in.
Yeah.
So even when I was invited by LG to teach its high performance leaders,
Yeah.
all of them. Imagine there were 72 all senior level high performance, the best in the world for LG.
Wow.
And this guy, who is the director for education and training,
Yeah.
he shocked everyone by bringing me. Imagine everyone from American University suit and tie professors,
Yeah.
and me, school dropout.
Yeah.
In the same room.
Wow.
And then when I came there, one of them even stood up and said, I'm sorry, I can't be in this room. You look like the Yakuza. And I think he was Japanese, and he walked out.
Really?
Then one other guy was about to stand, and the African gentleman said, let's give him a chance to speak.
Right.
10 minutes, if he speaks sense, we'll sit here, others, we all will walk out.
Yeah.
I spoke for 8 hours.
Wow.
And they sat. And then I got a standing ovation, so I was pretty happy.
Wow.
See, it's just that just because you have a piece of paper doesn't mean you're educated.
Right.
The process of learning and education goes forever.
Right.
So,
When you, what motivates you? What motivates you to work these 5 days a month? Why are you doing it? What's the big
anyone
difference?
would be motivated to work 5 days in a month. But what motivates me?
I mean, when you relax for 25 days, it must be even harder to work for the 5.
See, what motivates me is pain.
Right.
If you are comfortable on this chair, you wouldn't get up.
Right.
But if something was poking your ass, you would
Yeah.
definitely check, what the hell is it?
Yeah.
So pain motivates me. When people criticize me, when they make fun of me, I remember memories of my past, so that drives me.
Yeah.
I was 112 kgs just
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Someone opened a public forum and started ridiculing me, calling me man boobs, and I lost 31 kgs, even though I'd busted
Wow.
both my knees and I had a compressed disc. The doctor said I needed surgery.
Right.
I couldn't walk.
Wow.
So I lost 31 kgs because I was not comfortable. So when
Yeah.
you're not comfortable, you achieve something.
You
So
achieve
that's my
something.
drive.
And in life, mate, how do you measure success? What is success to you? And because it's obviously changed a lot, I guess, in the early days when you were not treated well as a child, success would probably be not being bullied and not being manhandled. But how does it change, and how do you measure it now?
I measure it simply by this question. Am I happy?
Right.
If I'm happy doing whatever I'm doing,
Yeah.
that for me is success.
Yeah.
So it's at every step, am I happy?
Right.
I just ask myself this question.
Daily.
Every day. Every single moment.
Every moment, but every day.
There are times where I love to eat condensed milk with bread and lots
Right.
of chocolates because
Right.
that makes me happy. But then when I have an event and I
Yeah.
know I need to keep myself carb free,
Yeah.
I know that fasting, that phase of self-controlling
Yeah.
makes me happy.
And do you have a decision-making process, like a strict, or do you sort of trust your gut a lot? Like if someone says to you, okay, we want to do this, is it based on a this or that? Is it based on a gut feeling when you meet someone that you want to work with them directly, or
Yeah.
is there a decision-making process that you use to sort of to have these choices and outcomes?
Experience gives you that intuition.
Right.
You need to trust your gut because many times you get this funny voice that tells you things are not going to work out here. It's funny.
Yeah.
I listen to my gut feeling
All the time, man.
Always, yeah.
This is a big one because I know a lot of your business is surrounding it and it's around us all the time at the moment. What is your take on the impact of technology and specifically social media, not just on us here, but on the world today? What's it doing to us?
I just tell people this. If a school dropout like me can
Yeah.
teach a room full of 72 PhDs,
Yeah.
it's all thanks to the internet.
Right.
Because I have studied everything from YouTube to the articles that are available for free online.
Yeah.
And that's why even I give my knowledge for free.
Right.
I'm not insecure about this. And if they want to know the power of social media, I got called from Coca-Cola, United States. They called me up because they found my social media scene pretty happening. I was like,
wow.
I thought it was a joke. I was like, yeah, right. And I'm Bill Clinton. I said, they finally said, we'll give you a number, US-based number, call us up.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, bloody hell. What they're saying is true.
Yeah.
So today, if I have 200,000 followers, it's all social media.
Right. And what do you do with those other 25 days of the month or 26 days of the month when you're not working? You said you work for 5 days of the month, you relax or maybe not relax. What do you do for the rest of that time?
Stephen Covey's principle, sharpen the saw. I'm learning, I'm studying, I'm exercising, I'm doing something that makes me better because I can never take myself for granted.
Right.
So I have to get better in some way or another.
So it's not just a case of this is a dream job, you work 5 days a month, you just relax for 25. In those 25, you're actually mentally working harder to better yourself.
Exactly, yeah. Because you need to realize your customers are not dumb. They are smart.
Right.
Today they have access to the same technology you have.
Right.
So they'll do their homework before meeting you.
Do you think there's too many people not taking things like that into consideration? They work the 9 to 5, then on weekend they fill their social plans, and they're actually not taking any time or enough time to upskill themselves, learn more, and educate themselves?
You know, I tell people this. The illusion of knowledge is dangerous.
Right.
Most people believe that they are very smart because they have a good paying job, they have a fancy title, or they drive big cars.
Yeah.
Knowledge is not power. Its application is.
Incredible. Here's another one for you, mate. If tomorrow was your last day, what would you do with it?
Exactly the same thing I'm doing now.
Really?
Maybe have a nice pot session.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to all the guys. And maybe just eat something nice and just relax, watch a movie and die.
Really?
That's it.
That would be it.
I definitely put all this on. I'll keep uploading it until I die. So
really?
That's it. Yeah.
You found a way that your life is now that
I'm perfect.
If tomorrow
perfect.
it wasn't. And how do your relationships go now? Obviously, as you said, you came from quite a let's call it simply a broken home where things weren't easy. How do you have relationships now and build them? Is there trust issues? Do you have people that are close to you? How does all of that work?
I have people who I look up to, my mentors.
Right.
Okay, they are the people, like, for example, if I wanted to ask fitness, I'd ask you. Because I feel you're great to be a mentor.
Right.
So I choose my mentors.
Right.
Friends, I choose those people who were there for me when I had nothing.
Yeah.
And the rest, I believe you don't need many. You just need a few. I have 4 dogs and I'm very happy.
You have 4 dogs?
I love my dogs. They
Really?
sleep with me, eat with me. They don't poop with me.
So this whole thing, how does that relate into your social media? Because on social media you're very active, you have over 200,000 followers, etc. So on that side you have a huge following, but on a personal level you have relationship with your dogs.
I'm very quiet. I do not share the real side, my real feelings. No.
Right.
Nobody can get into that vault.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even me right now, right here.
No, you're not my girlfriend.
I don't actually intend to be. I mean, because that's one of the biggest things. I think you probably see it as well within your work, is that a lot of people on the outside, we're measuring success, and that's why I asked that question, on the number of Facebook friends we have, on the number of Instagram friends, on who's liking our stuff. But on when the times get tough, which your times have got tough, who do you really call?
See, to answer your question seriously, like if you are my mentor, I would open myself completely to you. Because if you have to guide me, I have to be honest with you and myself.
Yes.
So, these are the people I'm very honest and upfront with.
Yeah.
And people who love you when you're nothing, they'll be there for you when you're everything.
So it's important to build that very close...
You need to have the discernment to know who do you call into the circle.
Right. And once you call them in, that's it.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
One final question, but before we do that, just let everyone know where we can find you and how people can get hold of you.
It's very simple. Just Google my name, Loy Machedo. You'll get enough and more shit about me. So all the shit possible on the planet. I have enough and more haters out there, so it's okay. Cool.
Really? So we'll get that.
They just have to Google Loy Machedo. That's
Which
it.
is Loy, then Machedo.
Yeah, I blow my own trumpet, so it's good enough.
Just Google that and you'll get hold of Loy. Final question. If you could give one piece of advice to our listeners, what would it be?
You just have one fucking life. Live it.
Live it.
Live it. Enjoy it. Have fun. There's no fucking heaven. There's no hell. Just fucking enjoy it. This is the life, all that there is. That's it.
I think that wraps things up awesomely, Loy. Thank you so much for your time, mate. Look forward, and we'll get you back on the podcast in a few months' time.
Yeah.
Give the listeners a bit of an update to what's going on.
And Marcus, before you conclude, I must say, people should see you in real. They'd not believe it. You look like one of those Greek gods.
That's enough. Thanks very much, buddy.
Right.
I appreciate it.
All right. See you,
Thank
man.
you,
Take care. Bye.
Thanks a lot for tuning into this episode of the podcast, and thanks to Loy for that as well. Absolutely awesome. Remember, you can go and check out the video version if you're only listening in iTunes, or vice versa. Go to InnerFight.com/podcast 209. And of course, if you do have any questions or comments, please leave them on that post, or just drop an email to us, winning@innerfight.com. We'd absolutely love to hear from you. If you get a moment, hop over to iTunes, rate the podcast, and leave your comments over there as well. Until next time, take care.